Okay, so that took some doing to get done. I might have to do some editing at the beginning of that. So this is an unboxing of Tyranny, which is a game I've seen bandied about into places, but I've never actually... I picked it up recently more because Good Old Games every once in a while gives you a free game, like an exclusive discount or exclusive giveaway. And I think it was either free or was like $7. It's one that's been said it's very good, and looking at it recently, it implies that you aren't necessarily playing the bad guy. You can. You are playing for somebody that starts with the bad guys, but you can play out to be a hero, is what I understand. So we're going to do a new game. Normal difficulty requires strategy and efficiency. Forgives a few mistakes in combat. So we're going to do that. We got all these people. Hover your mouse over an enemy selection circle to see your chance to hit with your next attack or ability.
For over 400 years, the armies of Kairos the Overlord have swept across the known world. All who stood against them fell before their might. Even the Archons, women and men of immense power, were forced to kneel, chained to the Overlord's will. Now Kairos' final conquest has come to our corner of the world, and two of the Overlord's armies compete for the honor of taking our lands. The elite disfavored, and the teeming horde of the Scarlet Chorus. The voices of Nerat, spy master and Archon of secrets, guides the fierce and undisciplined masses of the Scarlet Chorus. With each battle, the Scarlet Chorus grows stronger, as the defeated are given a simple choice: serve or die. Graven Ash, Archon of War and the Overlord's most loyal general, leads the disfavored. Though small in number, Kairos' ironclad legion has never met true defeat in open battle. Watching over the two generals is Tunon, the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice, eldest of Kairos' minions. Tunon brings Kairos' laws to newly conquered lands, aided by the Fatebinders, judges and executioners of the Overlord's laws. You were among the youngest of the court of Fatebinders when Kairos' armies came to our lands. How could we have known that the fate of thousands would rest in your hands?
So that's the story. Obviously, going to there. Um, there's some interesting body types. There's some things here. I do note that regardless of the body type you do, you're kind of busty. Video games being what they are. I am going to go for slighter, smaller, because it is the kind of character I like to play sometimes. But also, I'm thinking ninja again. Okay. Last time, I kind of got into this a little bit. I built a face over here before looking at the portrait. And that was a mistake, because I made a face that I couldn't match up to a portrait. Not you. I think you. Okay. Can I get to...
Quiet down. We must rest.
to some brown hair. Not quite what I'm looking for. Can't zoom in. Not. Was skin colors here. Yeah. And it's not what I'm looking for. This, I think, will do. Okay. I think I do want darker hair. There isn't. You can't really tell. I can't really tell much about how they appear with these. This doesn't tell me much. These all look the same to me, to be honest. I'm sure there's differences, and I can see there are differences when I select them. But the icons down here don't look terribly different. I'm going to have to work on the voices. Okay, let's look at some tattoos. I want an arm tattoo, I think. Not this, not a face tattoo. Not legs. That's interesting. No. No. Not terrible. I do like the tree. Interesting. Oh, it's a snake, but it's on the leg. Oh, I have to go for snake, though. Okay, so... we'll keep that. Yeah. Yellow and red. Yellow meets red. Yep. Okay. So, not wishing to pay to feed and house too, the madam that purchased your mother sold you to proving grounds. Fighting arena. Given only enough training to assure the show isn't over too soon, your natural prowess and survival instinct led you to one victory after another. There was no elegant swordplay, no formalized duels, just brutal melee and the stench of blood, shit, and bronze with each day's gruesome necessities. It is said that any fighter that slays a dozen others in the grand melee is given her freedom. But in 300 years, only 3 warriors have ever walked away from the proving grounds. When the closing horn sounded and 13 corpses lay about your feet, you became the 4th to be granted freedom, to thunderous applause. But this autonomy was short-lived. Within days, word of your accomplishment made its way to Archon of Justice. Unable to settle the year's accounts with grain, your parents offered you as tithe to the Overlord instead. Seeing your first battle as a child, you've known all your life how to fight. How to stay calm at the sight of blood and disembowelment, how to rely on your fellow warriors. Deemed smarter than the average killer, you were groomed for command and given an education in letters and numbers. With rumors of war, it seemed recruitment into the disfavored legion would be the obvious match for your skills, but the Archon of Justice is known to say that good iron is not used for swords, and good minds are not used for soldiers. Playing by Tunon, you were instead drafted into the Court of Fatebinders, where your martial skills were put to use in the enforcement of Kairos' laws. Okay, so a hunter. Leader of your home village spoke out of turn one time too many agents. The Overlord put the whole town to the torch to contain the spread of insubordination. The bounding Viper tribe came across the smoky ruins of your village, and when the beast matriarch Found you frozen and unafraid, the mighty leader took you in and raised you with the protection of her tribe. Huh. For years, you lived with the wild beastmen in their migratory homes throughout the mountains, but the bounding vipers were a dying breed. Each long winter took a greater toll than the last, and once the dwindling tribe was too weak to defend its lands, the disfavored soldiers came to dispense of the ravenous scavengers your tribe had become. Finding a human among the wild tribe, the disfavored soldiers made a point of taking you alive. News of the wild child of the north eventually spread to the Archon of Justice. He ordered you released from captivity and delivered unto his court. Accused of a crime you most certainly did commit, you stood before Tunon the Adjudicator, Archon of Justice, and argued your case with eloquence and conviction. Impressed by your logic, reason, confidence, he found you guilty anyway. It is rumored that Tunon selects many of his agents from his prisoners, who better to catch the wicked than those versed in such ways. In his mercy, Tunon offered you a choice of 2 sentences, decades languishing in prison, or a lifetime serving him in the court of the Fatebinders. The choice was an easy one, and instead of seeing the inside of a cell, you were trained in letters and numbers, magic and war. The laws you once broke are now yours to interpret and enforce. Deeply proud of your intelligence, your parents always knew you were too smart for a life spent with your hands in the soil. Looking to secure a better future, your parents struck a deep bargain with the Seven Tree Guild, a small magical order willing to teach you letters, numbers, and magic if you proved capable. For several years, you learned much from the mages, mastering reading and writing faster than the rest. Eventually, learned the basics of mystic theory and spellcraft. Your magical studies came to the abrupt halt when the voices of Narat, Archon of Secrets, deemed the guild a peacetime distraction that should be disbanded for the upcoming war. Its mages assigned to proper armies. While your peers went on to other guilds, your mind was seen as too valuable to be wasted on the armies. Instead, your life was claimed by Tunon, the Archon of Justice. Few have the combination of wits and courage to be accomplished casters and warriors, and those cursed with such combination of talents are invariably pulled from their mundane lives and assigned to the armies of the Archons. Your earliest memories are a painful slog of training, study, lecture, and exhaustion. All the elements of being groomed for battle. You knew better than to ask what became of your family, nor to question what the missives allegedly penned by their hand that were part of your earliest lessons in reading. When you reached adulthood, Tunon the Adjudicator came to the barracks and laid claim to your life, seeing you as too valuable for the crucible of battle. The Archive of Justice deemed your life better spent dedicated to the art of punitive legal remedies. Though you had much to learn in the matters of civil discourse, none could deny your bright future as Tunon's next great enforcer. Though they would never tell you why, Kairos bestowed great wealth upon your family for some unmentioned service, and your parents used this wealth to have you raised far from home. Your childhood was a nomadic tour of Tyranny with hired tutors and fleeting friendships. Where others had stability and routine, you had a worldly and varied education. A careless word in a far-flung city landed you in legal trouble, and you were taken before Tunon, the adjudicator, made to stand trial. Not only did you plead your innocence, but you turned the accusations around on the accuser for wasting the court's time, and the Archon of Justice concurred. Amused by your wit, wisdom, and adaptability, Tunon claimed you as his newest enforcer. Born to noble parents, you were groomed for leadership. Your youth was spent on letters, history, rhetoric, other matters of culture and statecraft. Though you had wealth and creature comforts, you were expected to grow up quickly and bear the honor of shepherding others through prosperity and war. When your parents came under the accusation of sedition, you were sent to the court of Tunon, Archon of Justice, to defend your family's actions. Your parents were found guilty. Their sentence, the dissolution of the treasonous estate. Eloquently pleading your own ignorance of your family's actions, you negotiated your most important deal yet, immunity from the crimes of your family for the simple cost of swearing fealty to the Archon himself. Despite the unwilling induction, your education and savvy made you a valuable addition to the Archon's cadre of enforcers. So long as you remain in good standing, your family just might be allowed to live. Okay. Which one do I want to do? Da, 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 da. Excuse me. I don't like the diplomat and the noble scion too much. Diplomat's not too bad, actually. War mage would be interesting, but it's not really what I'm looking at, unless everybody gets access to magic. I think I am going to go with Lawbreaker. Or you know what? Pit Fighter. Okay. Just doing a double check to see which, yep, cool. Previous, Pit Fighter, yep. Where's archery? Short bow. I'm going to get unarmed as my primary. What happens if I do short bow? Okay, I'm going to do unarmed as my primary. I'm going to take palm strike as my secondary. I am going to take short bow. Hobble. Heart shot. I think I'll take hobble. Okay. I do like that. I like the blue and white here, but let's switch it up. We'll do blue and white. No, let's try a darker blue. Just curious about a thing. Cool. Or I could just do all white. The black and gold is obviously the images of Kairos, so that's not something I really can affect. Let's see if there is a snake symbol I can do. There's this, which if I had done Lawbreaker, I would definitely use this. Not sure what that is picture of. Excuse me. Oh, yeah, snake. Definitely snake. I do like that look. Okay. Ophelia. Okay. Unarmed attacks. Unarmed and short bow. And short bow. Okay. I think want 3 here, 3 here, and 2 here. I'm hoping these can go up later. Okay, support skills. We're gonna increase lore. That's as high as we. Nope, we're gonna go to 30. Gonna do this to 30. I am. Take that to 38. So the quick start would just get it right into thing. Conquest will show what you did on the way to this point in time. So we're gonna do conquest.
All the world has fallen to Kairos, and now the Overlord's eye is on the Tears, our home. the last corner of the world free of Kairos' reign. Two armies, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, marched south from the Northern Empire, the last realm to fall to Kairos a century prior. In the early days of 428, Kairos' armies arrive at the Gates of Judgment, the mountainous border that we Tearsmen so long believed unassailable. Unable to agree on a unified plan of defense, the various leaders of the Tears sit and wait for each other to deal with the conquerors, until it's too late.
The Iron Legion there doesn't look small in number. During the conquest, you will decide your character's actions during Kairos' invasion of the Tears, shaping the world through which you adventure over the course of the game. Each choice you make affects your character and how major factions of the Tears respond to you. Your decisions matter. Choose wisely. The bastard cities stood on the northern border between Kairos' empire and the Tears. Built upon a natural harbor of the crossroads between realms, the city was a nexus of commerce. To the Tears, it was the center of all wealth. To a northerner, it was little more than a backwater trading post. Its symbolic status as a gateway to the continent made it a natural first target in Kairos' military conquest. Circumstances were ideal for you to prove your worth as a soldier in Kairos' armies. Taking the city would send a message to the rest of the Tears. Kairos' will is insurmountable. Armies crossed the mountains, established a foothold, sent their forces to prepare the way. Infiltrate the Tears. Gates. So either be part of the assault or do part of the infiltration. History would remember the Gates of Judgment as the first battle of the conquest, but the real combat unfolded with advance units of both armies preparing for the coming war. The Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus each had a plan to infiltrate the capital city. Which army did you join? Conscript enemy fighters for the Scarlet Chorus. I don't want to do conscription. That is no. I will aid the Disfavored scouts. Skills to elite Disfavored scouts to capture a border garrison. Graven Ash insisted that an early victory of the offensive would boost the morale of his troops and diminish the haughty overconfidence of the Southerners. The Oathbound scouts identified a modest border defense and collaborated on an organized attack that would leave the enemy uncoordinated and cut off from aid. You oversaw the preparations and offered your opinions on the strategy. When the clashing of swords and spears fell to silence, followed by the cheering of Disfavored scouts, you were the least surprised. Okay. Interesting. Inside agent. You found an ally within the city to prepare the way for the approaching armies. The bastard city's residents, fire mages, threatened the first leg of the conquest. Put a stop to their unchecked power. I'm going to do this. Opponent in the bastard city were the mages of the School of Wild Wrath, too barbaric to use their power responsibly. The unbridled practitioners needed to be stopped. How did you trick the hot-tempered mages into their own undoing? His favorite ambush. A meeting with the voices of Narat, maybe hoping they would kill each other. You tricked the guild elders into meeting with the voice of Narat, the Archon of Secrets. The Archon was notorious for his cruel and mysterious interrogation techniques. The mages were never seen again. There were few who could describe what horrors the Archon of Secrets visited upon his enemies during the conquest. Whether the elder mages knew little of the Archon's reputation or met him without him out of curiosity didn't matter. Once the flap of the Archon's tent closed, none of them were heard from again, save for the strangled cry of alarm that ended just as swiftly. Leaderless, the school of Wild Wrath fell into disorder, and the remaining members were slain by the disfavored or conscripted into the Scarlet Chorus. Your tactics of infiltration placed you in the Bastard City ahead of the main armies. Your work softened the city defenses for the arrival of Kairos' forces, but you wanted a decisive gesture that would give your allies a meaningful advantage. How did you assist in the fall of the Bastard City? Duel the city marshal, incite a riot, spread fear through assassination. Raising the people to a riot seems, for someone who is a revolutionary that doesn't know how to focus it. Spreading the word of Kairos, you converted the poor and disaffected into a hidden army of the Scarlet Chorus. That was not what I intended. Once the dust settled, the army wished to bolster their troops with these sleeper cells. Gives me a fire punch. Short duration. It says stealth. And regenerate health rapidly, but your damage significantly reduced. Let's see. Challenge the commander of the Bastard City's defenses to an honorable fight to the death. The disfavored wished to spare soldier lives for the battles ahead, civilian lives for occupation. You eliminated the leaders of the Bastard City one by one. Eliminating leaders does sound like if something... Gonna go with this. Some deaths were quite unnoticed, others were gruesome beyond words. As a wave of murder overtook the city's elite, your deeds swelled infamy. Well before the armies arrived, no one in the Bastard City felt safe in their homes, much less behind their walls. By the time Kairos' forces crested the horizon, the city was fearful enough to open the gates and welcome their new protectors. You may choose only one of these locations. The troops of the mountain realm of Apex stood idle in the safety of their valley, biding their time as their neighbors in the Bastard tier fell. In the second year of war, a joint force of the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus crossed over the mountains to take control of the tier's central valley. Deposits of iron made the settlement of Lethian's Crossing a strategic war asset. Kairos sent the forge-bound smith mages of excellent skill to establish a flow of weaponry. Tunon, the adjudicator, sent one of his fate binders to ensure the enforcement of Kairos' law. I hate to think what's going to happen, but we're going to do this. Yep. That settled into a new state of normalcy, with every tower displaying Kairos' banner. Your name was whispered alongside rumors of decorated career to come. The armies divided into two fronts, migrated south. Tunon sent word that you were to join the next frontier of Kairos' conquest, either as the judge and overseer of the settlement of Lethian's Crossing, or as war advisor with the armies advancing into the realm of Apex. I'm going to continue with war. I don't want to be government. I love this. Let's see if there's a way to get into the options. That doesn't appear to me. The mountain nation of Apex, ruled for generations by the queens of House Vendrick, stood at the heart of the tiers. No army could bypass the landlocked realm without leaving their flank exposed to attack. By the second year of the war, the disfavored Scarlet Chorus had pushed deep into the tiers. Elements of both armies were dispatched to conquer Apex. Tunon assigned you to accompany them, tasked with bringing Kairos' law to the territory as well as keeping an eye on both armies. Ooh. The Archon of Stone's assault was perhaps too successful. Presented problems and opportunities. Denial of strength. Edgerine Pass. Dealt with mages last time. Let's do Battle of Edgerine Pass this time. Sent their most destructive ally to crush the Edgerine Fort. Cairn, Archon of Stone, buried the stronghold under an avalanche triggered from the surrounding mountains. The Scarlet Chorus were promised captured enemies for recruitment, yet none survived the onslaught. The Chorus demanded compensation. Side with the disfavored, side with the Chorus. I'm going to side with the Chorus. And demand the youngest disfavored scouts join the Chorus to settle the debt. In the aftermath of the ruling, the main force of both armies turned out to witness the disfavored scouts scripted into the Scarlet Chorus, a rarity of which few could recall any precedent. Archon Graven Ash, last of the great northern generals to stand against the Overlord in ages past, Archon Graven Ash now serves Kairos as supreme commander of the disfavored legion and charged with conquering the tiers. Shares a powerful bond with soldiers under his command, regards each of them as family. The death of a soldier at the enemy's hands represents grievous loss to the old general who bears the burden of his love with mournful stoicism. Though Volquin's early opposition held his dignity and shed only silent tears for his lost soldiers, the chorus mob swarmed around the new recruits, hoisting them up and tearing at their disfavored raiments as they began a hazing ritual that lasted through the night. Oof. Marriage bed armistice. Scarlet Chorus soldiers were found wearing disfavored armor. Huh. Let's see what marriage bed armistice is. The enemy readied for a peacetime festival as the Kairos army forces armed for battle. Disfavored paid no mind to the southern custom and planned to attack the Vendrian forces during their annual celebration. Scarlet Chorus insisted on a day of non-violence. As former tiersmen, many could grasp the decency of a temporary retrieve. Yeah, we'll do this. The locals their last feast, sending a few Scarlet Chorus agents into the mix in good faith. The army hoped that the gesture would foster an air of partnership for the occupation to come. The festivities went off as expected, and the Scarlet Chorus recruits you sent to enjoy themselves reported little animosity among the revelers. The disfavored protested your ruling as too merciful and waged an all-night training drills to combat the sound of the celebration with an anthem, swords, and shields. You sent forces to attack the following day, a battle from which the disfavored recused themselves out of protest. I'm not going to be happy with the disfavored. Not going to be happy with me. With the defeat of Apex and inevitability, the armies of Kairos met to discuss how to put an end to this stage of the conquest. Both armies agreed to send an offer of parley. Along with their acceptance, the enemy requested that you appear at the meeting. Word of your fair dealings had apparently spread to their ranks. How did you orchestrate the surrender of the realm of Apex? You negotiated the surrender of the valleys, putting an end to further bloodshed. Striking under banner, you baited the Queen of Apex into a duel. No, we're going to do mediation. Former enemies were loath to part with their lands, but they were even more reluctant to continue a war they were losing at every turn. Tiersmen are a stubborn lot, and despite their grim situation, it still took days of discussion and diplomacy to show them the madness of tenacity. On the third day of mediation, the rulers of Apex finally submit to your terms of surrender, putting an end to the war in the valley, and freeing up Kairos' forces to march deeper into the tiers. Why? Okay, got 3 choices now. The land of Apex finally rests in the hands of Kairos' forces. The Scarlet Chorus paused to revel in a victory while Disfavored prepared for the next fight, affording themselves but an evening's rest. Excuse me. Kairos' armies radiated out from the conquered citadel and worked their way across the tiers. The disfavored and Scarlet Course aimed to dominate as much territory as possible in the coming year. Your distinguished reputation in Kairos' military left the choice of your next destination yours to make. The Archon of Stone to subjugate the nation of Azure. Easily defended position and rich military tradition, the realm of Stalwart was the most formidable realm in the tiers. Its treasures, its knowledge, its secrets. I like the idea of my pit fighter who's learning more secrets and is getting more subtle. The Vellum Citadel was an archive and library of massive scale. Its inhabitants were known as the School of Ink and Quill, a circle of mages that centuries ago carved out their own mountainous refuge on lands unsettled by other major realms. Legends said that the Citadel housed a treasure trove of arcane knowledge. The Overlord's spies infiltrated the school and confirmed as much. The time was ripe to send a detachment to the great library fortress and force the scholars to yield to Kairos. Peaceful surrender turned bloody. Siren's song ensnared some stealthy state. Oh, good grief. I am going to do this one, I think. Siren's Archon of Song used her power to enthrall enemy mages who crept along beyond the citadel walls. After Kairos' forces rounded up the arcane practitioners, the disfavored began executing the new captives before they could share dangerous knowledge, a crime under Kairos' law, with the sacred Scarlet Chorus. Punish the disfavored, muzzle the mages. Punish the disfavored. Punish the disfavored for executing mages bound to the Scarlet Chorus, ordering that several disfavored soldiers be given to the Archon of Song as her personal bodyguard. They are not going to like me. The wisdom of the sages and knowledge of the Vellum Citadel were too important to silence, and the disfavored balked at entering the Archon service, but your ruling left them with no recourse. Archon Siren delighted in having new toys to play with and promptly enthralled her personal guard. You spotted them in camp days later, following their new mistress with wide-eyed devotion. Oh, joy. Should have seen that coming. Spymaster agents, suspicions arose when sages surrendered. Songs of strength and provoked bloody slaughter. Do I want to do this? Let's do with this. A group of enemy mages surrendered into the disfavored, claiming to be spies all to the voices of Narat. No one in the army could verify the claim. The disfavored readied to interrogate the mages, but the Scarlet Chorus protested, demanding that the prisoners be given to their custody. They couldn't risk the voices of Narat's secrets falling into the wrong hands. Leave them in disfavored custody. Though it meant angering the Scarlet Chorus, the mages were disfavored property. They remained in custody while you reviewed their claims. It took time wherever the mages confiscated documents, finding no blatant messages to the voice of Narat or anyone else. You resolved to question the mages yourself. When you reached their cells, you discover the bodies, each of them slaughtered in grisly display. Tense discussion and accusations followed, but with no evidence to suggest a responsible party, you were forced to just let the matter drop. Food and morale dwindled as the siege party realized the enemy would win this war of attrition. Tunon sent word that Kairos' patience had run thin. The Overlord would cast an edict of fire on the enemy. The parchment arrived in a slender case, engraved iron, written on it the words of a spell powerful enough to destroy the Vellum Citadel. You had the choice of when to read the edict. Reading it at sunrise would offer your enemies no warning of the devastation to come. You could also wait until sunset, giving them ample time to flee or make amends. Yeah, 1 day's warning. Claiming that he still had spies within Citadel, Scarlet Chorus urged you to warn the mages of the Overlord's edict. Granting their request, you met with the enemy under a blue flag of peace and warned them of their doom. giving the Chorus spies and the enemy a chance to run. Front of the mages with the warning, and hoped the message was received. The hour before sunset, numerous figures were spotted fleeing the citadel. The sun dipped under the horizon. You read the words of the edict. The earth shook. Red-orange light glowed in the foundation of the sprawling citadel. Blowing up from under the library, a torrent of lava heaved with explosive force, gushing from windows and between loose bricks, melting winding trenches in the surrounding lands. Days later, the flames still raged on. The conflagration continually fed and renewed by the power of the edict. I burned the Library of Alexandria is what this is saying. Oof. The armies of Kairos left devastation of the Vellum citadel in silence. From that day forward, the Tears came to know the once noble citadel as the Burning Library. This was an undisputed loss of resources, knowledge, culture, and life, but a message had been sent. The Overlord will not tolerate defiance. You did not have long to rest before Tunan called you into service once more. You were one of the last to depart from the mountains, and as you journeyed off, you spotted a few campfires in the mountains. They were mere specks, dwarfed by the inferno, the last gasps of survivors or perhaps looters from Kairos' armies, bored and daring enough to pick through the ashes. Do I have another choice to make? You have Kairos' conquest. Do you want to continue a race or erase your progress and start over? Do I want to replay that? I might do it on another time, but let's do continue. I don't particularly, if I do this as an LP, I probably will redo it, because I don't particularly like the idea of burning the Library of Alexandria though I get the feeling that there probably isn't a choice.
The year is 431, and Kairos' invasion has shattered all major opposition in the tiers. The Younger Realms, the Bastard Tier, the Free Cities. All who defied Kairos lay broken by battle, or bowed in surrender. The two armies of the Overlord, the Disfavored and the Scarlet Chorus, now control our lands. But our will is not yet extinguished. Not entirely. In the Valley of Vendrian's Well, those of us unwilling to bow to Kairos have banded together in defiance. Violating an oath of surrender from 2 years prior, we have staged a bloody uprising, murdering the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus garrison in a midnight assault. With their main forces spread across the tiers, the Disfavored and Scarlet Chorus redeploy to Vendrian's Well to crush the resistance. But months pass with no definitive battle. As disagreement and discord paralyze the Archons, we bide our time and wait for our message of insurrection to spread across the tiers. The Overlord is not amused, and Kairos has one message for the Archons: crush the Oathbreakers or die. Kairos backs this threat with an edict, a magical commandment that can slay all in the valley should the order be ignored. The honor of proclaiming this edict fell to you. Sent across the mountains to Vendrian's Well, you carry the Overlord's edict to read before the Archons.
Oh dear.
As you finally make your way through the winding mountain passes into the valley, the ground trembles, and Kairos' magic seals the way behind you.
Really?
You are trapped in Vendrian's Well, with Kairos' armies and the Oathbreakers. The only way to survive is to fulfill the terms of the Overlord's edict, in any way that you can.
Oh no. Ophelia, I presume we've been expecting you. Okay. Reactivity tooltips, okay. Kairos, the Overlord be praised. When I heard the avalanche, I feared the valley was sealed with you on the other side. This favored warrior claps her gauntlet to her breastplate, the traditional salute of her legion. When I heard to expect a fate binder, I had a bad feeling Tunon would send you. This favored warrior clears her throat, forcing a smile to her face. If the Archon of Justice sends a fate binder who favors the ways of the Scarlet, coerce over the sanctity of the Legion. Perhaps that's a sign of who's to be chosen to rule these worthless tiersmen. Where is it? Denying the defender's advantage of the terrain. As the arbitrary on the matter, you sided with the Scarlet. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I like that it reminds us of that. Each party is like bystanders, companions who may interject. The choice you make to change how the story develops and will build a reputation for your character over time. People in the world will learn of your reputations, good and bad. Respond accordingly. Skills, history, and gender, as well as decision you make in the conquest, these may all open up options for you in the dialogue. These options are not necessarily superior to the other responses, but give you a wider variety of choices to select from. The matter in which someone responds to your choices depends on their individual personality and attitude. Speaks to you will display a banner on their portrait, which faction the character is allied with. Okay. The tooltip on these banners will provide you details about how that faction feels about you. Often see the names of important characters in locations in the gold text. Tooltips on these glossary provide you with important information about the world. Yep. Okay. Favor, 0%. On personal note, it is good to see another Harbinger. Departed the northern to conquer. With her and her team in the infiltration of the tiers that occurred weeks before the major battle. Oh, okay. Part of the daring pre-war raids to each other, refer to each other affectionately as Harbingers. Okay. Okay, cool. But I know the Archons expect me. Don't let me wax nostalgically about the old days. The avalanche is Kairos' magic. The Overlord has sealed the valley. Your senses see more than mine, good Fatebinder. I do not pretend to know much about such things. But if that was Kairos' magic and you're here on important business, well, you don't have to be Archon of Secrets to guess that you're here to proclaim an edict. What does Kairos have in store for the enemy? 10 years of festering plague and edict of twisting. I come bearing. Our soldiers will complete their task or die. Is leveled against us? But the Scarlet Chorus prevents us from taking action. Why would the Overlord punish both of? Forgive me, it is not my place to question. We should have conquered the enemy within weeks of arriving in the valley. The delay reflects poorly on all of us. If we all follow Kairos' will and stop the insurrection, no harm will come to any of us. No wonder Kairos resorts to an edict. No, I don't want to do that. Of course, Kairos. We'll do the encouraging one. Then again, I have been saying, build discontent, maybe? Let's do this. Following orders and killing locals will save our lives. You don't have to tell me twice, and I sure hope you don't have to tell the Archons twice either. Still, this is all coming from the Firestar, the Fatebinder who made the fire bubble up from the soil and reduced the Vellum Citadel to ash. So forgive me if I'm still terrified all the same. Well, you've traveled a long way. I won't keep you further. I'm sure the Archons will want to hear from you at... Did you hear that? More runners, third time this week. The Oathbreakers keep trying to send messengers through the mountains to gather help from outside the valley. But they're a bit too late for that. Now come, let's show these Oathbreakers a good fight. It's lore. It's perhaps one of the few points of agreement between... Okay. Reneging on surrender. Okay. Use plausible real-time combat because you will often... I hate pausing command. I really hate pausing command. Automatic pausing. Your characters can always perform basic attacks with their equipped weapon or their fist if fighting unarmed. Characters have special abilities. As new abilities and spells are gained, they are automatically added to the ability bar. Why are people enthralled with pausing command? All of your character's abilities and spells can be accessed by selecting the category icon at the bottom of the selected frame. Abilities are grouped into talents, spells, combo abilities, artifacts, abilities, reputation abilities, and stances. Category icons for weapon sets and quick items follow. Left click on the ability or icon. Press the hotkey corresponding to location of the ability. Cursor will change to indicate whether your mouse is over a valid target for the ability. If the cursor has a red X, you are not over a valid target. If the target has a pair of feet, you will need to move closer. Healing spells buff. You can click on the party portraits to target the ability on the... Okay. Friend or foe have 5 primary defense against target attacks: parry, dodge, endurance, will, and magic. Based on the character's attributes, equipped items, and other effects, character's accuracy is based on their skill with the type of weapon they are wielding. To the most appropriate defenses, when an attack is made, determine how likely it is. Okay. Hit, critical hit, graze, and miss. Reduces your increase your damage. Graze reduces it. Gain experience of the weapon skill used to make... Okay. Even a miss will grant some. Okay, what is this? Concealing shadows, hobble, palm strike, thrust. Huh. We're gonna do this.
Will do.
Level up! There are 6 category talents available to your character: leadership, defense, power, agility, magic. With each level, you gain 1 point increase of talent from each of these categories. Your talents unlocks based on how many talent points have been spent with it. To learn a talent, select this icon and then save the button to confirm your choice. Own talent trees with unique abilities. These abilities unlock in the same manner as your character's talents. As you spend points within a companion talent tree, further tiers of talents become unavailable. Interesting. Spell creation? Do not know any core sigils. How do I... I have 1 point in power. Okay. Okay, the dark side blocks the path ahead. You can squeeze through, or... Okay. Brute strength will also work.
I got it. Right. Right.
I wonder, one of the ways to fulfill this instinct is to kill all of Kairos' soldiers. which means,
Right.
you know, betraying people that think I'm on their side. You're silenced. You cannot do spells, which I don't think you could do anyway. Clutches his gun and winces. You can see a hint of entrails between his fingers. You're wounded, and it's not trivial. This, but a scratch. I've seen twice as worse 10 times over. If you let me help. I'm fine. The Graven Ash protects. You go on and help the others. Was there...
Try and catch me, worm.
Young Scarlet Fury waves around the Vendrian Guard, avoiding their weapons with fluid grace. She nods to acknowledge you. This one's crazy. Too much lead in her water. We should cut our losses and turn back.
Fate Finder. Here at last. Here to join me in putting these cowards out of their misery.
Depends, who are you?
Are you serious? I came to escort you to camp when... Damn it! Kill first, questions later.
You look like you're handling yourself well enough.
That I am. But I could use someone watching my back.
Gain loyalty reverse. Interesting. Vendrian lower their weapons in advance.
Come at me, grave meat.
Blood-soaked stone.
Right. Got them in my sights.
That's a spear in your
I got
gut.
it.
Lore +1.
Phew. I can tell you didn't spend the conquest in a diplomat's tent.
Surveys the fresh corpses with a nod.
Though you did a fair amount of feasting in the second year of the conquest, as I recall. A few of my mates and I caroused with this apex scum thanks to your good faith gesture. A pity this lot won't be around to remember the good old days.
Yep.
I'm versed, by the way. But there are more important things to take care of than introductions. Those Vendrian Guard we killed didn't come alone.
She guesses to the skirmish to avoid the pass below. Why are they attacking now?
My guess? The Vendrian Guard are testing our strength in battle, learning how we perform before they organize a real offensive. That or they're really, really desperate to get beyond the mountains and couldn't wait until nightfall.
You fight like a storm. What's your role in the army?
A Scarlet Fury, one of the elite killers of our ignoble gang. You'll see more than a few of us around camp, but don't let that fool you. We're a rare breed. Most of the soldiers in the Scarlet Chorus are little more than farmers and children armed with rusted forks. Makes them easier to control. The voices of Nerat called his best fighters to this siege. There must be something important about Vendrian's well, though don't ask me what. The Archon isn't in the habit of spilling secrets. The voices of Nerat told me to intercept you at Edgering Ruins before you busied yourself solving all of the camp's problems. Guess I was too late. You're due for a meeting with the Archons, but we should handle the small matter of this ambush first. Eager. I like that. Before we go, you might search among the remains of our fallen comrades. Wherever they're bound, I doubt they'll miss their boots, much less any rings or any useful iron they might
Currency
be
divided
clutching.
the realms of the divided realms was questionable value and easily counterfeit. Offer the promise of shared economy, simple, so money.
No reason to pity the fallen. Before long, we might wish we'd joined them here. But at least we'll enjoy heavy pockets and warm toes. For the voices of Nerat!
Why don't you have anything? Scarlet Fury Helm. Okay.
Right. Can't do that. I got it.
Okay, cool. Wait, spell scrolls? It's high enough lore you can learn this signal and use to craft scrolls. Right click on the scroll icon, then okay. Kairos' edict. Where is this scroll that I'm supposed to have found? There we go. I don't see a scroll. Phalanx. Let's compare these. What I got is better. Armor 1. +2 armor. Oh, this is Rogue's Letters. Yeah, okay. Got it. There we go. Scroll. Lore 35. Okay, cool. Good to know. No looking back. Fox. Okay. They're some kind of weapon. You. His attention lands on you. Double take recognition. You've come again to talk peace. It seems you're too late. Perhaps we can settle this without... We know that violence surrender meant an end to what little mercy and goodwill Kairos forces have or ever will show us. Now there's no turning back. I know you tried to do right by us in the past, but now you're between us and the way out. Nothing personal. Reinforcements! Hurry! Okay. Let none escape. From the red mob of reinforcements for the south, a blood chanter emerges at the head of the rabble, the ornamental crest of her staff pulsing with crimson tones. Signing the sigils of magic and wordlessly moving her mouth, the blood chanter scribes a series of spells in the air. Red glow surrounds the Vindrian guard warriors. Chanter's magic worms their way into its mind, blinding them with rage. Should all of you, you there, keep to the path. The warrior gestures along with the cannon. No, don't engage them. We need to run. Reluctantly readies his weapon.
Look at...
Don't really have... Honor Guard, engage Horde in melee. Horde, okay. Blood soaked stone. Oh, nope.
No dice.
Take that!
What the fuck is wrong with my weapon? Ready?
For the queen!
Will do. Wake me up when it's over.
Oh no, this is not going well. We'll start to, when I see their portrait will start to grease when they will gain a wound in the health portrait. Wounded have their maximum health reduced. Party rest or when a character levels up. Okay.
Take that! I'm injured.
Oh no. Okay. We're gonna go to the main menu because that seems like that's a little bit more than an hour, so that's a good place to stop that. But that's Tyranny. There's a 1 and a 2 here. Huh. Anyway, talk to you later. Bye. It's not a very nice story, is it?